Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Former Prime Minister confident citizens would approve if asked whether Jamaica should become a republic. Former Prime Minister P.J. Patterson is expressing confidence that Jamaican people would approve the country becoming a republic if the issue is put to them in a referendum. The former Prime Minister says once the political parties act in unity on the issue, he's certain Jamaicans would sign off on the proposal. His comments come amid questions as to whether Jamaicans are prepared to support the move to Republican status. Mr. Patterson says he's willing to bet on it.
The former Prime Minister wrote a joint letter to the Prime Minister and the Leader of Opposition, urging them to initiate steps to transform the country into a republic in time for its 60th year of independence. Jamaica celebrates 60 years of independence come next year. Questions have arisen as to whether Jamaicans, who have been showing waning interest in voting in general elections, will turn out to vote in a referendum. But Mr. Patterson says he's willing to bet on the Jamaican people.
If the two parties decide on it, and if they campaign together, I would bet my house and my life that acting together, that referendum would secure the required majority. And can you imagine what it would do to Jamaica if instead of campaigning in orange and green, we could see our leaders of different political stripes going out to their constituencies with one voice to advocate the cause of getting ahead of state who lives in Jamaica.
Mr. Patterson says taking the step towards republicanism could rally the country to deal with other pressing challenges.
We can't have a nation where we can't, as President Ford said, play golf and chew gum. The things are interrelated in this way. All the issues we have to resolve require a national as distinct from a partisan approach. If we can be seen to have leaders who can agree on something which is a major change in our constitutional framework, it lays the ground for fertile conversations on other related matters.
The former Prime Minister, who served between 1992 and 2006, says he's satisfied that he did his best to advance the issue of transforming the country into a republic while he was in office.
I tried, and in my own mind, I'm comfortable that I made the very best efforts, but I also accept that it was no point trying to ramrod something through which would have no chance of success if the opposition held out against it.
Mr. Patterson says his efforts were further thwarted by the change in leadership in the then opposition Jamaica Labour Party from Edward Seaga to Bruce Golding. He says the JLP was trying to reconcile its position with that taken by Golding when he was in charge of the National Democratic Movement. Mr. Golding had embraced a comprehensive overhaul of Jamaica's constitutional framework prior to returning to the Jamaica Labour Party. Mr. Patterson is the second former Prime Minister this week to publicly call for the move towards republicanism.
Health Ministry defends travel ban on some South African countries with Omicron COVID-19 variant. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton is defending the ministry's decision to impose a travel ban on a number of southern African countries where the Omicron COVID-19 variant was detected. Dr. Tufton noted the travel bans are not discriminatory.
Well, that's always been a part of the plan and the strategy, I should say, and it has worked for us. When the different variant strains that were considered to be a strain of concern by the WHO and others emerged, Delta, the UK, then we had the Brazilian, and I think one or two others. We also impose restrictions on those jurisdictions. So it's not strange and shouldn't be interpreted as such or in any way discriminatory on any other ground except securing the public health. When COVID started, just over 18 months or so ago, no, well, actually before that, 2 years or so in Asia, we imposed restrictions on that region and China in the first instance, several others after that, in order to slow the virus, to help us to prepare. The first case didn't arrive in Jamaica until March 10th. The restrictions were imposed late January. So we had almost 2.75 months or so. And we did a lot during that time in terms of preparation. After a while, it doesn't really have an effect because as the strain moves from one jurisdiction to the next, then clearly it neutralizes the effect unless we're going to totally cut ourselves off. There was an issue around a particular type of vaccine, Pfizer, and people wanting to distribute Pfizer. That is a more difficult vaccine to administer because you have to mix it. So we try to clarify and deal with that. And, as the issues come up, we try to resolve them. But I do believe that there is some effort that is required to coordinate the administration of the vaccine. I'm not sure if everyone understood or those doctors understood some of the efforts that would be required, because I think having established that, many are not willing, or my interpretation is that many are not willing to take on that effort because it does involve some effort. There have been some issues expressed around what is required. Some of those things you cannot adjust. We have been in dialogue with the doctors. So, for example, the need to preserve the integrity of the vaccine by having a dedicated temperature control facility, a refrigerator basically, committed to that. That was important, and we had to make arrangements. In the first instance, they had to pick up the vaccine at the parish level each day and return when they were finished until they had that infrastructure in place. And then having had that infrastructure in place, they'd be allowed to do pickups maybe twice per week. So that was one obstacle. I'm now hearing too that some are saying that they should be paid for the effort. In the initial stages, we were told that they would pitch the doctors, that is, the take-up to their patients who they would have been seeing anyway, and they would do so as a sort of national service. And they would normally, of course, be compensated by those patients who would have been visiting them. But I'm now hearing that some are saying that they need to be compensated separately for administering.
Query gets concrete road.
I want to assure the members from Carib Cement that we're going to tidy up the liquor drains around and make sure the holiday, if you had waited, coming January, we'll have it done and nicely done. This is like you gave us the dress. We're going to do the trimmings.
I am happy for the people of Quarry, who for the first time at last is having a very durable road. A road which I'm sure will withstand the ravages of floodwaters. I am positive about that based on what I am seeing from here. But I must say that the citizens of Quarry, they have been very patient and very tolerant over the period as they await the fixing of their road. When this administration took office in the early days, we fixed this Quarry road. The road was barber green, nice, pretty, and smooth. But then the rains came, and one day a tremendous amount of rain fell, and the drain could not carry the volume of water, and so the water came on the road and completely destroyed the road. It lifted up every piece of asphalt that was on that road. And so our member of parliament had to try and find money again to fix the road. After some time, he was able to access some funds, but I tell you what happened. The contractor messed up. And as a matter of fact, as we speak, I think we are still in the courts with the contractor, trying to see if we can retrieve some of that money. So that was another long setback for the residents in Quarry as far as the road is concerned. The member of parliament again had to try and access funds. And so, after some time, he did. And this time, we find a very reputable organization, and I'm referring to none other than the Caribbean Cement Company.
So it's a pleasure, of course, to inaugurate this kind of projects. which are the best thing that we do, honestly talking, to see how, you know, the impact of what we do every day, producing cement, and then bringing also the knowledge of these kind of solutions to the community. So thanks for having us. I'm happy to know that despite the challenges of the pandemic, we as a company are still able to do these kind of projects and to benefit the communities all around Jamaica. Assisting communities, of course, is our DNA and continues to be an important feature of our social impact program at Car Cement, and one that we, of course, don't have any doubts that will continue in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, regarding to this project, this is an important one. I was checking, and I think it's the biggest project CSR-wise we've ever made in Jamaica. So I'm very glad to see that it's here. I'm very glad to see that the solution that we've applied here has already resisted very heavy rains. I've been told and explained about all the difficulties that you had in the past because of heavy rains and where this neighborhood is located and what the rain does downhill. So I've been told that you already had a big test in form of very strong waters coming down, and the paving is still here, and I can promise you it's going to be with you for a lot of years, hopefully 50 or 60 years or more. I hope you can enjoy it. I hope you can have better conditions because of this, of course. And we are happy, of course, to be able to contribute as a company for your welfare.
It's a big gesture. As I said, the biggest of their contribution in terms of financial contribution to a community and doing cement, using cement to make roads in difficult areas. And indeed it is. The value of it, as I said before, over $40 million. And although people are inquiring, they came and did the work themselves, their own engineers, and they paid the people, the workers themselves. Nothing went through the hands or the coffers of government. I think it needs to be made clear the cement company did and made a contribution to the community of Quarry in Montego Bay. In addition to that, Quarry is a community which has had a long history, and it may outline to you. The first time I did the road in the pavement, I was quite happy with the road and came in driving on a smooth track, and the community was happy. We all felt good, and the first real heavy rain came. It lifted the pavement like paper and piled it up like... And it has been like that. I think my friend up the house, around his house up there, so almost washed everything at build a wall there. And the water in here is very heavy. I want to tell my friends from Kingston, extremely heavy when it gets going. The rain we had last week in Montego Bay was even heavier than before. And it stood the test of time. And I want to assure the members from Carib Cement that we're going to tidy up the liquor drains around and make sure the holiday, if you had waited, coming January, we'll have it done and nicely done. You know, this is like you gave us the dress. We're going to do the trimmings. And I want to assure you we're going to do it because we feel good about our road and the people in the community feel good about it. I want to give them it perfect. And to add to it, although this is an urban area, we have titles for all the property in here. So these are property owners. When you fix the road, they'll have a lot more interest in staying here, building up the community, and maintaining it. So that's where we're going. When you spend the money and you maybe it costs a little bit more, you know. But when you're in geographical areas like this, and you have to fix the road every year, you in fact lose at the back end. It costs taxpayers much more to maintain. Some of you will recall, if you travel to Kingston, what is happening in Fern Gully. It was put in cement some 10 years back, more than 10 years, and has not had any serious damage since then. This road withstood the last flood quite elegantly, again demonstrating that and the issue of constructing all our civil infrastructure to be resilient is important at this point in time. And you are aware that we only recently signed off to do a perimeter road for Montego Bay. It's going to be right behind Bar here. And if I deviate a little bit and say, you know, bear in mind that some of the men who work on this site now, right, Mr. Nelson, acquired skills by cement company I work with them, how to handle concrete in these situations. That may well, we need a skill on doing that highway in a few months' time, because we're going to lose a lot of concrete over there. You know, that is one of the infrastructure pieces of the North Coast. The entire North Coast, we have to improve the infrastructure network, because tourism is one of the potential big growth industry. We have in Montego Bay a port which will do shipping. The airport offers a lot of opportunity for business travel coming in and out. But at the foundation of all of that has to be good quality infrastructure in it. Include roadways, communication, and building. That is a critical element. And the office structures. If we have that, we'll have the opportunity to really move fast and develop the North Coast and through Jamaica. Infrastructure, the roadways for traveling, for movement is crucial.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.